Welcome back to my series on engaging employees. Hopefully you have written an alluring ad and you have received 30 to 40 responses. If that is true, I also hope that you have already contacted those respondents with whom you want to start a relationship. Once again, I'm going to use a comparison of responding to someone who has winked at you on Match.com to reflect on the importance of timing when building a relationship. If you wait too long to respond, the person you are responding to may actually be offended. Why did it take you so long to respond? You must not be that interested. Remember, once they made the decision to make a change in their life, took the time to write the perfect profile, and then finally actually found the courage to post it on Match.com, chances are they spent every minute after that checking for a response. The more minutes that pass, the less the excitement about taking that next step. Responding rapidly will more likely keep the positive vibes and excitement growing because you were, obviously, excited about their profile since you responded so fast. They are looking for the start of something great and engaging, and immediately response from you could lead them to the next step of meeting and chatting with you on the chance that you are that something great. Same scenario with your Indeed posting. If someone responds to it, the faster you reply with engaging communications, the more likely you will be successful in starting a relationship with this applicant. It indicates that you are obviously as impressed with them as they were with your company when they perused your posting. Your contact rate will be considerably higher the faster you respond, but it will still be what I consider very low. I am running a 41% final contact rate, which means I never get to correspond with 6 out of the 10 applicants. Just another reason why it is necessary to have an alluring posting so you receive a lot of respondents to your employment posting. So who do you respond to rapidly? What does the person look like that you want to start a relationship with? The answer to those questions could depend upon how many people you need, how fast. My current statistics show that it takes 16 applicants to end up with one hire. We then lose 1 out of every 2 hires, often within 2 weeks, for a variety of reasons. I'm sure you know them all if you are watching or reading this series. But some of the reasons are absent day. We automatically terminate anyone who misses a day of work in their first week, almost without exception. They decided it was too far to drive, and yes, we do ask them as one of our qualifying questions, is this a good location for you? They say yes, and then of course they decide after a couple of days it's too far to drive, too much traffic, blah, blah, blah. It's harder than they thought, they had a sudden illness in the family, again, blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is you need about 30 respondents to your employment posting to end up with one long-term employee. And when I speak long-term, I talk 90 days or longer. So where do you start to effectively work all of those names? Hopefully as they come in. Then it will not be a daunting task when you finally get at it, and you end up needing 60 names instead of 30 because the good ones are already gone. Timing and time are everything when building relationships. That's why many companies who are fully staffed and have 40, 50, 60 cleaners have full-time recruiters. It takes a while to recruit an employee, which I'll talk about in another series. But you start by reviewing the first name as soon as it comes in the mail. As soon as you get that email ding that says you have a new applicant on Indeed, you need to go look at it and respond to them. What are you looking for? That certainly varies by company, but the generic favorites are experienced, driver's license, vaccinated for COVID, can pass a background check, and, well, can walk and chew gum at the same time. Common sense. Again, depending upon how desperate you are and how many people you may need to give up 1 or 2 of those favorites to be fully staffed. The longer you take to wink at your candidates, the more favorites you will need to give up. Just like Match.com, if you see someone who has the majority of your favorites, I recommend you check them out ASAP before they go on to somebody else. Or do you think you're so hot that once they see your company, they'll drop all their other choices and come running to you? That's a lot of confidence. So how do you respond? I start with the phone, with any candidate that has all of my clients' favorites. I leave a voicemail if I do not reach them by phone. Any candidate with experience and has all of our favorites, I automatically phone, leave a voicemail, email, and text with a personal message. By a personal message, I mean that I change my template to include their name personally and to mention something in their job history that I say makes them perfect for this job. Then, of course, I tell them how wonderful the job is in few words and ask them to give me a call ASAP so we can set up a Zoom interview. This has indeed brought me the best results because, again, it engages the applicant in the text. Again, how successful would you be at alluring your choice on Match.com if you sent them a template text? If you want to start a relationship with someone, you need to take the time to show them you care enough to know their name. And what do I say when I finally have the opportunity to chat with them? I start by introducing myself as a consultant who was hired to help XYZ company with a major recruiting project. I go on to explain that they have secured my help because I understand their culture and who would be a good fit for their company. I say this because today's applicant usually tells me they left their job because they're just looking for a good fit that wasn't a good fit. So telling them that I'm there to screen the culture and the fit just makes sense to them, I think. Then I go on to tell them that I'm going to begin by verifying the deal breaker questions before we go on so that I don't waste their time or mine. First, can they pass a background check? Second, have you had your COVID shots? And last, is the location of the office convenient for you? These are all deal breaker questions, so if I get a no, I stop and don't go any further, except for one exception. If they have not had their COVID shots but have experience and the location is good, I ask them if they are willing to get their COVID shots. Next, if they have experience, I ask them to tell me a little bit about their professional cleaning experience. And if they don't have experience, I ask them why they are interested in making a career change or industry change at this time. If I like what I have seen and heard at this point, I explain to them that I live in Austin, Texas. So unless they want to come to Austin for an interview, the next step will be a Zoom interview with me to get and give a feel about the culture and background match before we set up a face-to-face interview. I ask what time would work best for them, giving them an opportunity again to engage in our relationship building. If they put the time back in my corner, I choose a time that same day. I then ask them if they have any questions for me before our interview, or I could answer them then. But most say they will wait until the interview, which is great. I then get or verify their email address and immediately send them a Zoom link and ask them to verify receipt of the link. Then I pray. It's truly out of our hands after we've done everything right to this point. And I think statistics show you'll get a good return if you do everything right to this point. Using a Zoom interview allows for the same day first interviews because both parties can be anywhere and meet. I want to know if I want to see this person face to face ASAP, but I do not want to waste a full afternoon waiting for someone who might not show up. 55% of my contacts turn into Zoom interviews. 26% of my scheduled Zoom and face-to-face interviews end up in no-shows. 60% of that 26% are Zoom interviews, saving a lot of glued-to-the-desk time. And 66% of the no-show face-to-face scheduled interviews really weren't no-shows. They left us know that they weren't coming. They found another job, changed their mind, decided it was too far before they got to the interview. It helped cut back on wasted time a lot. And from what I read and what I've read and heard, I'll submit to you that this is a good percentage rate of people showing up for interviews. I will further submit that it's because of the immediate and continual personal engagement with the applicant. It takes time, but it gets the job done using the best bang for your buck. On a side note, be sure you are tracking the outcome of each call and the current disposition of the candidates. This list of qualified names is a gold mine that should be referred to the first time you need a new employee. It will save you time and money if you do not need to start all over again. You're going to have a large list of no contact names. Go to the ones that matched your favorite things and have experience, and go back and rework them. They might still be available, or decided they don't like what they're doing. Your percentage of contact rates and hires will be lower, but your time and your costs spent will also be lower. During that time, you can be running an ad and waiting for that to pull new candidates. Perhaps you'll find one before you even need to run the ad. In time, you will also be able to trend your statistics and know exactly how many postings you need to run to attain a new hire. It will tell you how many interviews you need to do, whether or not Zoom interviews are working for you. It will also tell you if your numbers are higher or lower than average in the industry and where you might need to tweak. In my next session, I will cover the Zoom interview, statistics regarding Zoom interviews, and show you an actual Zoom interview from a candidate that was hired. Until then, be sure to look at our engaging residential cleaning kit at www.housecleanerstraining.com. If you need help with your recruiting, please contact me at 512-964-9750. That's a text or phone number, or email me at sltinberg@housecleanerstraining.com. See you next time.